pass them all.
I know.
Nelson, just as you sit here now and it's officially over, now you're looking up to the next opportunity in life. I mean, what do you reflect upon? I mean, looking at this list that David just got, there's 42 records out there, including the conference stuff that you and I talked about last week. Well, what do you reflect upon at this point?
Yeah, I just had my exit meeting with Coach Mack, so I feel like it's like really over now. But I mean, looking at that, that's awesome. That's why you play football, to be the best. And obviously I couldn't have done it by myself, but setting those records, it's something I'm always going to remember. And then, I mean, just from a team aspect, playing college football, that's always been my dream. So, I'm always going to look back on these years probably as the best years of my life. Hopefully I get to play at the next level, but from what I've heard and from what I can imagine, college football, it's not as much as a bit of a business. It's just guys playing it for the love of the game, and I'm definitely going to miss it here.
You said you had your exit meeting with Matt. Can you tell us what was said between the two of you, what the theme of that meeting was?
Yeah, it was just me and him kind of going back and forth about, how much the program's changed since I started here. And then, obviously how frustrating this season was just because we were so close but couldn't finish some of those games. And, he told me what we're going to accomplish next season and the years to come. I'm still a part of that, which I'll definitely feel a part of that. And then we kind of just talked about the next level, and, he'll obviously help me out with anything I need as far as that goes, and just the future. And obviously I'll be in touch with him and, be checking in on the program, and he'll be checking in on me.
So you're also second team all Pac-12. How did that, when you found out about that, how did that make you feel?
That's good. Obviously, you like that type of recognition. Obviously, first team would have been better. That was kind of my goal coming into the year. My individual goal was first team, just because last year I was second team as well. But there were some good receivers this year. Who was first team? Juju and Gabe March, probably, I would imagine. So those are two good receivers. So, I'm happy with it.
Seemed like P-Rich kind of handed the torch to you in terms of being the number one receiver here. Do you hand that to Shea Fields now?
I was kind of joking around the last week. I was telling him, all right, whoever has the best game this week gets the torch. But, that's the thing. I think it's going to kind of, Shea's been the kind of number two. But, with that being said, I think it's kind of a, close in terms of, who can step up and be that number one guy. That's why I told Bryce is my roommate, and I told him, there's no reason why you can't be if you this offseason is going to be huge for you. Just like it's going to be huge for Shea, like it's going to be huge for Devin. Who's going to be that guy? Once P-Rich left for me, that was when I was like, all right, this is my time. I got to step up. So I think it's going to be a case of whoever wants it the most and whoever puts in the most work can be that guy. Because they're all talented. It's just going to be a matter of, who wants it.
You came in probably not imagining how many records and big numbers and whatever you would have when you left, but did all of that, in retrospect, surprise you?
Yeah, I think so. I've always kind of, been the quiet type, under the radar, and I've kind of always known, coming out of high school, I feel like I was under-recruited, wasn't that big of a name, but I've always kind of been confident in myself. And so obviously I didn't know I knew I could. There was no question I could be a playmaker at this level. I could, be a starter. But I think the amount of records that I was able to set is kind of surprising.
You said in your meeting with Matt, you guys talked about where the program is going and stuff.
Yeah.
What is it about him and this staff that I assume makes you believe that these are the guys to get this program to where it needs to go?
Just the passion. I think you see Coach Mack on the sidelines in these close games, it looks like he's about to have a heart attack or something. But so he brings that passion every day, and I think the players feel it. Coach Levitt on the defensive side of the ball is just as passionate. And I think now next year Coach Mack was just telling me we're gonna have the biggest junior-senior class since 2000, 2001 or something. So, that amount of guys that are all on the same page, all preaching the same message, I think that's a positive for the future going ahead.
So, Nelson, now that you've gone through 5 years here and you've kind of seen different aspects of this program, and you got guys like Cheeto who just walked out of here, another juniors and all these guys coming back, well, what's the best piece of advice you think you could pass on to those guys to maybe help raise that bar next year?
I mean, my thing is, like, take every day, like, seize the opportunity every day. I mean, that's how I kind of attack the game. Like, we have the athletes on this team. It's just going to be a matter of, treating every day like, not like, that's the last chance you're going to get, and I think the thing with this program is, if we can do that and stack day after day, then, we're going to be competitive against these top teams. So it's just, coming to work is what I would preach.
Nelson, obviously this season the offense did not live up to the standards you guys had last year. When you look back, do you think it was injuries, execution, coaching? How would you assess what happened with the offense this year?
I mean, yeah, injuries are definitely a big part of it. Up front, we had a few that kind of, we always had guys moving around up front, which, protection's huge for us. But, that being said, we can't blame it on injuries because every team goes through injuries. It was just, I mean, that's what was tough for us because I don't think we could pinpoint exactly what it was. I think if we could, we would have been able to fix it. But, obviously, I feel like we never fully hit our stride on offense. And so that was the frustrating part. It was kind of hard to pinpoint it because I feel like every week, it might have been like a different thing. Like we all never, from all aspects, we never put a complete game together.
Nelson, you're graduating above a 3.0 student, graduating in a few weeks, I'm assuming. What are the next few months like for you prepping for NFL stuff?
Yeah, so I got like one class this semester. I'm taking my final like in a couple weeks, and then I'll head back home. I mean, decide, I got to go decide what agent I want to go with and then decide where I'm going to train at. It'll probably be home in Southern California somewhere. And then just kind of hit the ground running with that and really focus on that.
Anything else for Nelson?
About this one, you grew up in that area with no NFL team.
Yeah.
Your favorite team and who you called your name on draft day?
Yeah, everyone asks me that. I don't really care. Obviously, I'll go with whoever takes me. But I got a lot of family in Northern California. My dad's a big Niners fan, so I guess it'd be cool to go there.
In recent years, ESPN will do like hours and hours and hours and hours of the show in Indianapolis where guys are trying out. So, have you ever sat and watched that?
The combine?
Yeah. Sorry, that's what the word was for. Yeah. Have you ever sat and actually watched the combine, which I assume you will now be heading to at some point?
Yeah, I watch it. I mean, the last few years, knowing that hopefully that was in my future, I've kind of been watching it, especially the receivers. So yeah, I kind of like take note of, different receivers and what they do there.
What All-Star games you invited to?
I committed to the East-West, so I'll be playing in that.
That's the only one.
The NFLPA got invited to. I didn't get the Senior Bowl invite, so yeah, I accepted the East-West last week. Trying to get in.
Have you talked with, I know last year, you looked into the NFL, so obviously it's something you've been thinking about for a while. How much research have you done? Have you talked to P. Rich? Have you talked to other people just to kind of get some sense of what lies ahead for you?
Yeah, that's what I think. That's why it was really helpful last year. I kind of got to gather all the facts and like kind of see how the whole process works. And now, I feel like I'm really prepared for what's to come. And yeah, I mean, last year I talked to agents that were contacting me and they were really helpful about getting feedback for me and kind of letting me know how the process goes. So I'm glad I did that. Looked into it. So now I kind of know what's coming.
When you're at an institution that's got such a great NFL history, I mean, can you tap into the Chad Browns of the world or Michael Westbrooks or whomever else that might have been here before you that can maybe give you some advice, or is that something you think about?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Costa I talked to, Peter Rich a little bit. I haven't been in touch with him lately, but I talked to him a little bit. And yeah, McChesney, guys like that have kind of all given me a little bit of advice here and there.
Nelson, when we talked a couple weeks ago, you said a big thing for your draft stock is going to be speed.
Yeah.
What can you do? How do you train to improve that speed?
Well, a lot of it, for the 40 time is technique, which I've never really had any speed training, so that's going to be a big thing for me is, you know, obviously your start's huge and all that. And, you know, I did a little bit last year training, just not knowing if I was coming out yet or not. And, you know, there's some things that you can work on. Obviously, lower body strength is huge. You know, so just getting with a specialist and just really, you know, it's obviously just tenths of a second make a huge difference. So just trying to shave off as many of those as possible.
Do you have a target time that you're aiming for?
No, I mean, it's hard to tell with me because I've never really been timed, you know, so I don't know like where I'm starting at and, you know, what's reasonable to get to. Obviously, you know, you see some of the times that have been posted, like 4.3s. I don't think that's realistic for me, but, you know, high 4.4s, 4.5s is obviously would be cool for me.
Do you find that odd? Because, you know, for you, your strength isn't necessarily running 4 yards in a straight line.
Yeah, but I mean, that's what, you know, kind of getting some information about this process. The NFL places such a premium on speed that, you know, you got to do it, you know, and so, you know, yeah, that's not my game is I'm not going to be running, you know, goes every route, but, you know, so I'll try to do the best I can at it. But, you know, I think if I land on a team and I can kind of show them what I do, like, you know, I think there's going to be a spot for me on no matter where I'm at.
Anything else for Nelson? All right.
All right, thanks.